Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Ducati Talent Talk. Thank you for being here in this beautiful venue, and I'm glad to be here and to present to you the Ducati as a company, starting from the history of Ducati. Can you please put me the presentations? Thank you. So that you will have a first impression of what's Ducati. I'm head of innovation and R&D services, and I've been working for Ducati since many years. And I was so lucky to move from one role to another within those years, starting from my background is a mechanical engineer. I graduated at the University of Bologna, and I started as a structural analyst, then moved to technology like material and process technologies, and then I've been head of chassis design department for 13 years. And lately, starting at the end of 2019, I was asked to take the charge of innovation, which means pre-development projects. The agenda of today, you can see it in the chart. We will have a quick look of the history of Ducati. Then we will go through the main features of our brand. A quick look to the model range, the current one. Of course, racing is in our DNA, so it's mandatory to have a quick overview of what's racing and what's the role of racing for Ducati. Ducati is not only motorcycles, but a full experience, 360 degrees experience. And then we will close with some numbers, just to give you an idea of the dimension of the company. The company was born back in 1926, but it was not a company dedicated to the manufacturing of motorcycle, at least yet. It started building very small engines in 1946. Those are some of the more, let's say, peculiar facts of the history of Ducati. I'm not going to read all of that, but you can see very clearly that there are a lot of racing motorcycles since the very beginning of the history of Ducati. This is why, as I told you, that racing is in our DNA since the very beginning. You can see also a picture of Fabio Taglioni, who is the engineer who designed the desmodromic timing system for the very first time. At least, actually, it was not the inventor of the desmodromic timing system, but at least it was the first one who developed a motorcycle engine with this kind of timing system. And we are still using the same concept, of course, developed and improved in performance and technologies. We are still using this desmodromic timing system in our model range, but especially in our high-performance engine, both in MotoGP and Superbike. Coming to more recent days, you can see that in 2012, and I ask you to read at least that box, we became part of the Volkswagen Group, we as Ducati, I mean. And that was a milestone in our history because it changed a lot the way in which we are developing our businesses, moving from an industrial but small company to a big organization, worldwide oriented, let's say. Of course, there's a small, not so small, a big box dedicated to last year. It was really amazing to be world champions both in MotoGP and Superbike in the same year, manufacturer and rider champion. So an amazing year for Ducati. The vision. You can see that you know very well that every company has to declare very clearly vision and mission, because those are not only sentences, but founding principle that steer the strategy of a company. And our vision is to be the most desirable motorcycle brand. And our mission, you can read it here, is to give to our customers emotions and experiences. We are not just addressing products like hardware, motorcycles, but experience, which means that we are open to many ways of reaching our customers and to enrich their lives with a beautiful experience. And we will see in the following pictures why our mission is so wide, let's say. Brand values. You can see that our brand values are style, sophistication, and performance. Those are words that are very important for all the areas, the departments of Ducati. And it's not by chance that style is the very first one, because the development of our motorcycle starts from the definition of the aesthetics of a new motorcycle. And from there, we develop all the, and we do the engineering, let's say, not to change too much the aesthetics or the idea of a designer. And this is one of the biggest challenge for us to develop bikes that can be commercialized, sold, so homologated, respectful of all the regulations, but with a distinctive design. And yeah, we have internally the so-called Centro Stile, Ducati Design Center, let's say, and it's a heterogeneous department. Not only Italian designers are working there, but also designers coming from all over the world. And the challenge is to have an Italian design, even with influences coming from various parts of the world. And with sophistications, we mean that we use the highest technology, the more advanced technologies to reach the highest performances. In this picture, you can see a beautifully shaped single-sided swing arm that was used in the Panigale Superleggera. You see very clearly that it's not just a technical part, it's a component that has to fulfill technical requirements, stiffness, torsional and lateral stiffness, of course, reliability to withstand the highest loads coming from the from the wheel, from the real wheel, and from the chain, of course, the final transmission. But it was designed together with the guys of the Centro Stile in order to look beautiful. And the challenge was to mix those two requirements, constraints, with the limitation of the technology. In this case, we used carbon fiber with a process in autoclave, but the requirements were to be very, very light. Therefore, we had to think of how to build a both stiff and very light structure with some constraint of shape. And every time we have challenges like that, we have to work together with our suppliers to find the best solution. Performances, of course, you see that again, lightness and lightweight is in this picture, because we care a lot to reduce as much as possible the weight of our motorcycle, because we know that especially for a motorcycle which is very very light in general, with respect to a passenger car, let's say, it's important for performances like handling and overall performance in general to reduce as much as possible the weight of all parts. So we don't work only on the main components like frame or swing arm or rear seat frame, but we work on every single component to save some grams from each one of them in order to reach the final target of of lightness. And as I said before, Ducati is not only a motorcycle, but also a lot of other things like events, like accessories, apparel, um, race, let's say academies, and and all the other ways of collecting all the customers together as a group of not only of owners of the same brand, but of people joining like a community, let's say. And to do so, we had to invest a lot of time and money to develop all those circles that you see here, from the Ducati owners clubs to the academies of various types, from rookie to advanced or racetrack academies. And of course, this is a sort of an investment, because the more you involve your customers in the Ducati world, in the world of the Ducatisti, and the more you get loyalties from your customer. Therefore, you can clearly understand that there are a lot of people working on that. We collect the feelings of our customer, the complaints sometimes, but also the appreciation of what is working properly. And we learn from that, processing those feedbacks and using those feedbacks to steer the development of the new products. So it's a very important part of the development of new motorcycle also. The features. Again, I would like to point out some of the distinctive features of Ducati. Maybe you know that we are a premium brand. I mean, with premium, I mean that we don't want to challenge our competitors on volumes, on how many motorcycle can you sell each year. This is not our business. We want to be distinctive. And to do so, we had to provide additional features with respect to our competitors. Again, that was already said. We have a distinctive Italian design, and we are recognized for that. And we care a lot of maintaining this distinctive feature. It is not so easy, you know, because to have a very distinctive design, you have to challenge your engineers, because they have to develop new shapes, new features that they start from the idea of our centro stile, but then they have to be industrialized, and this is one of the greatest challenge for our engineers. Of course, we need to respect also the target cost when we develop a new product. So it's not that we are free to use the most expensive technologies or materials. Therefore, I assure you that it's really a hard challenge to find the right mix and to end up with a very nice looking bike, like we are proud to say we are doing. Lightweight, again, you see that each three slides, lightweight and is mentioned, because we care a lot of that feature, and to reach the lightest design possible, we have to introduce a lot of innovation in our motorcycle, and our engineers are not satisfied of their first approach of the design of a component. They want to improve it as much as possible, and usually they come up with solutions that are innovative, like, for example, integrating a lot of function in the same component in order to reduce the number of parts and therefore reduce the weight, or combining, for example, the monocoque frame that we use in our Panigale. That was a smart idea of one of the designers in Ducati Corse that decided to combine two functions, the function of an airbox and the function of a frame in the same part. Therefore, they were able to reduce both dimensions. The frontal area of a motorcycle is very important for aerodynamics and also for ergonomics, let's say. So they managed to reduce both dimensions and finally the weight of a part. Therefore, we are currently finding new solutions to reach this very important target. High quality. We are working a lot to provide our customer with the highest quality possible. And I have to say that is very hard. We maybe it's not so known from everybody that we design all the parts of our motorcycles, but we rely on suppliers to manufacture them. Therefore, we have to work together with the suppliers in order to guarantee that the quality that they can provide is the one that we would like to have. And we have suppliers in Italy, Europe, but also worldwide, which means that it's very hard to check continuously the quality of our suppliers. It's a hard work too. So our quality department is focused on finding the best way to control the production of our suppliers and acting very quickly when something wrong happens, in order not to give the customer any issue at all, or at least to reduce as much as possible the problems that we provide to the customer. Sometimes it happens, and we have to react very quickly to reduce the consequences as much as possible. Performance redefined means that we are not focused only on the highest performance, but we would like to have a wider meaning of performance. What does it mean? It means that we want to take care also of the lowest end of a performance. So not only addressing very sport bike, but having a very versatile bike that can be used thanks to the electronics, the technology, the controls that we have, can be used also at low RPM, for example, while you are enjoying your ride together with your passenger or pillion rider. You don't want to have to deal with a very nervous or not regular engine. So you can adjust the behavior of your bike, both engine and chassis, suspension, thanks to the electronics. This was an improvement that was first in the market some years ago, and that give us the chance to provide more versatile products. Sport motorcycles, I already said that our DNA is red, and when we developed the sportive range of our product range, we don't care about the fact that the sport segment of the motorcycle market is not so big. For us, it's not a matter of earning money on each bike that we build, but also to keep our heritage alive, and this can be done only developing the sport motorcycles. our model range. So you can see what I'm meaning when I'm saying product range. We have a very wide product range. You can see that there are sport bikes, but also touring bikes, cruiser, and off-road or dual bikes. I have to say that recently we develop our product range a lot with respect to the past, moving closer to the off-road range with the Desert X. We provide the customer with a motorcycle that can be ridden also in the desert, for example, with a very long stroke. Of course, this is very hard for us to move from our known field, the sports motorcycle, to something which is quite far from this field. But thanks to the passion of our engineer, we managed to build a motorcycle which is very well appreciated in the market. I mentioned the racing, and of course, you know very well that we are in MotoGP and in Superbike with very good results. But I have to say that today I would like to spend some words on the Moto E also. This is the weekend of the beginning of Ducati era in the Moto E, because we are the official manufacturer from this year to 2026. And that was a really big challenge for Ducati. We started from scratch. We decided to build an electric motorcycle to approach the electric motorcycle market, starting from the most hard, the most difficult project. A racing motorcycle has to reach high performances in terms of weight, but also lap time. So starting from that, we were sure that we will be able to guess all the critical aspects involved in the design and development of an electric motorcycle. Of course, this is just the beginning. As soon as the technology of batteries, lithium batteries, will be more ready, let's say, for a motorcycle application, we will be more than happy to develop a serious production electric bike. But we think that now it's not the right time yet to do so because of the capacity, or at least the density, energy density and power density of the current lithium technology. And I have to say that the very first experience that we had in the electric industry, let's say, electric motorcycle, was together with the Moto student, the team of the University of Bologna. We sponsored that team since 2018. And the reason for that was to start to approach the electric motorcycle challenges. And I have to say that it was really a nice way of approaching in a soft manner, let's say, without investing too much money on that. What are the most difficult topics to deal with when designing an electric motorcycle? Now, in Ducati, we have a department dedicated to e-mobility that was built with having in mind that in the future maybe we will have to introduce more and more electric products in our model range. Brand experience, of course, I mentioned that before. World Ducati Week is a gathering of all the Ducatisti, and last time it was a record edition with 80,000, more than 80,000 attendees, and you can see some numbers, a lot of world title, world champion all together in the same place, and it's a way of building the enthusiasm around Ducati brand. Of course, we are present in the digital channel. I will skip that very, very quickly. Facts and figures. Just to give you an idea, Ducati has a main production plant in Borgo Panigale, but we have another plant in Thailand, and the plant in Thailand is dedicated to the Asian market, which means that our way of let's say, approaching the Asian market was not to ship the bike made here in Ducati in Borgo Panigale there, but to build bikes in Thailand for Thailand, India, China, Japan, and so on. But we have also two, let's say, providers that are doing assembly for us. We ship parts and they assemble the bikes. One is in Brazil and the other one is in Argentina, and it is co-owned with Volkswagen. And on the lower side of this chart, you see that there are a lot of acronyms. They are the so-called national sales companies. Those are not manufacturing sites, but only offices that help us to develop our networks in all the major markets. Oops, sorry. Retails. This is a chart that gives you an idea of the growth of our sales from 2009 till last year. That was our all-time record. You see that there was a drop in the COVID year, but then we recovered very well, and hopefully we will continue to grow in the following years. Those sales are distributed in those countries, and you see that North America last year was our major market if compared to Italy, and it's always like that. One year Italy overcome North America for 1%, the other year is the opposite, but it's very common to have this figure. You see that we are selling also quite well in China and Australia, Japan, and also rest of the world and South America. Our distribution network is very important to reach the final customers. We sell bikes in 96 countries, and we have 760 dealers or dealerships, and we are continuously working to improve this number and to give to all the dealers a common, let's say, a common way of approaching the customer. It is very, I have to say, it is very hard. We have a sales and marketing group which is working on a daily basis to give to the dealership all the instruments they need to sell in a proper way our motorcycle. I've said before that our motorcycles are full of technologies, and to be a good dealer, you need to know very well the technologies in our products. Therefore, we do a lot of training, not only to the mechanics that are supposed to do the service on the motorcycle, but also to the dealers. And I have to say that this strategy is paying a lot, because we collect the feedback from our customer since the very beginning, when they received an offer for their purchase, when they purchase the bike, and then we come back to the dealer after 1,000 kilometers for the first check. We collect all the feedbacks, and we use an instrument which is called Net Promoter Score to evaluate the appreciation of our work. The Net Promoter Score is a very common way of evaluating the performances of a company, and it is used by the major companies of various industries and sectors. And it is made subtracting the positive feedback to the negative one and neglecting the one in the middle. Of course, in percentage. This is a way of understanding if a customer is willing to suggest Ducati to a friend or not. And it's a way of, let's say, understanding if the work that you are doing is in the proper direction or not. And monitoring these parameters is very important because it's a parameter that speak to the of the future of what you're doing and what it is supposed to happen in the future. Because if you're doing good and you have a very high net promoter score, it's very you have a high percentage of chances to increase the number of your customers in the near future. Future challenges. Of course, this is a very general chart. Those are the three main macro trends of the strategy of Volkswagen Group. We are part of Volkswagen Group: digitalization, urbanization, and sustainability. And of course, we are working on the same path because we are part of a group. And I have to say that to match those macro trends with a motorcycle industry that you have seen, our volumes are not as big as the one of the passenger cars. They speak of millions of units. We are on the 60,000 range, which is much, much lower. So it's a challenge to be able to introduce innovative technologies in such small industry like the motorcycle industry is. But being part of the VW Group is a great help for us because we can borrow some of the already available technologies and match those technologies inside our motorcycle. An example can be the usage of the radar. We were the first one to put a radar both on the front and on the back of the motorcycle, the Multistrada V4. And those radar are mid-range radar borrowed by the passenger car application. More or less every one of us has a car with a radar to control the distance from the car in front of us. And those radar are pretty much the same of the one that are used in Multistrada. What was hard for us in that case was to manage the fact that the dynamic of a bike is totally different from the one of a passenger car. The bike can lean on a curve, which means that you have to we had to develop a very smart algorithm and software to deal with this dynamic behavior and to give the rider the proper indication coming from the sensor, which is the radar, both on the front and on the rear. So this is just to give you an idea of how hard it is to borrow technologies and to move it from one industry to another. I said before that we introduce a lot of innovation in our products, but of course there are a lot of constraints, and the constraints are technical, like safety regulation, sustainability. Of course, there is reliability that has to be fulfilled. In any case, performances, we have some targets, and last but not least, cost. Because in the end, you have to match the equation of price tag minus cost to provide some profit to our owner, which is the VW Group. And the sources of our innovation are various. You can see it here. We find some new ideas and technologies doing co-design with our suppliers. We work a lot with university. I've mentioned here two of them, but we work with many. We borrow some technologies from the automotive industry. We borrow some ideas, many of them from racing, not, of course, not the one that are being used in the current year, but maybe with some years of delay. We use some, let's say, smart idea that were developed for racing application, and we moved or declined to the street application, and we work with startups. I want to mention here some of the sources of our talents. We are co-founder of Mooner, and you see that Mooner collects various universities of the Emilia-Romagna region and many famous companies of the Motor Valley areas. And we have designed those curricula in order to be fit to the need of our business, let's say. So if you study in the Munich University, we learn some of the topics that are needed to work in Ducati. And especially there's a curriculum called Advanced Motorcycle Engineering that has a lot of courses and during this curriculum there are a lot of let's say seminars given by colleagues of mine, specialists of various fields, from dynamics to aerodynamics and so on. And the reason for that is to have people that are more or less ready to start working from day zero when they come in Ducati. I mentioned before Unibo Motorsport. The motor student is a way of finding passionate students that want not only to study but also to spend a lot of hours of their time in developing a project which is like a motorcycle project, even if it is very short, because it lasts just 18 months. But you need to take into account budget, marketing, not only technical aspects. So it's a very well designed way of increasing the knowledge of an engineer, of a graduate, not only with technical topics, but also with industrial, let's say, challenges like the one that he will find in the industry when he will start to work. Final remarks, because my time is ended. Innovation is the key, and to do innovation, you need to, as I said, collect ideas coming from various sources. The complexity is growing very quickly. I always say that we are sort of in an industrial revolution again. Like the one that we had in the past. We search for passionate people, because we need to have a lot of passion to build excellent products. It's not only we need some 100% involvement, and to do 110%, you need to be passionate about your work, and it's very easy to be passionate about motorcycles. And the way in which we collect those talents starts with the internship, but of course through Mooner we can have access to a lot of curriculum, and finally if we want to open some position, we will publish it in our website, in the Work With Us section of our website. My talk is finished. I'm open to answer to your question, and I thank you for your attention. I think that you need a microphone. Huh?
Thank you. You talked about the motor esports and electric vehicles, and I know that you have a lot of research and development and the marketing strategies, but don't you think that it's a little bit like a lot of companies just making bets that will it really be profitable in 10 years or 20 years? Because I think right now, even though it's right now is booming, is flourishing, I'm asking like, don't you, a lot of companies right now, like Ferrari and Porsche, are making attempts to build like e-fuels. And is it possible, is, for example, Porsche is part of the like Volkswagen Group, and that if they produce like some attempts at making engines, and it will be implemented in this Ducati like sphere?
Thank you for this question. It's very interesting. We have to say that I have to say that we are very open to new technologies. We don't have already chosen only electric. We are studying also hydrogen, also synthetic fuels. Of course, being part of a VW group and being Porsche so involved in the synthetic fuel fields, you know that they have opened a, a plant in Patagonia, in the very south, in South America, where they can produce in a proper way synthetic fuels. A proper way means that they produce green electricity through solar and wind energy, and they do the hydrolysis, collecting water and building the hydrogen in a green way. And of course, this is just a prototype plant. There are plans of increasing the capacity of this plant. And I believe that they will do it very quickly, because this is synthetic fuels are a way of matching the target of not producing CO2 if you consider the full life cycle of a vehicle. I mean, you can use synthetic fuel in an existing engine. Of course, you will emit some pollutants, but those pollutants are more or less neutralized by the one that you don't produce while producing the fuel, and not starting from a fossil, let's say, fossil material. Therefore, we are, of course, following all those trends, synthetic fuels, hydrogen and electric, and as soon as we will have found the one that match our needs, we will decide where to invest. So we are not in a phase of already investing in one particular technology. We are very open. We have in mind sustainability, and sustainability means not to increase the amount of CO2. And there are many ways of doing that, depending on your target, let's say. And in the very first charts, you have seen that we want to be desirable and to produce experience, enrich people's lives, which means that you can do it with a conventional combustion engine, but also with an electric one, depending on which is the technology that allows you to do so. I hope that my answer is clear enough.
Yes, thank you very much.
Any other question?
Sì, there's a question.
As a car goes to autonomous vehicle, what do you think could be the future of the motorcycle? As the motorcycle is not a point A to point B movement type of vehicle, but something that we ride for the enjoyment, for the experience. What do you see the interaction, maybe vehicle to vehicle connection, and some aids to the rider?
We are currently part of a so-called Connected Motorcycle Consortium, which is a consortium that collects more or less all the manufacturers of motorcycle, and involve also the passenger car OEMs. The target of this consortium is to develop a protocol for the communication, and we address the connectivity to increase safety, because you know very well that many of accidents, unfortunately, happen between motorcycle and passenger cars, and they are caused by the fact that if you are not a motorcycle rider, you cannot guess how far or how fast or how quickly a motorcycle can react, and also you cannot guess how much space is needed to stop a motorcycle or to change lane, to let a motorcycle change lane. It's not like in a car. You cannot steer too fast, otherwise you will fall down. And using connectivity, you can send some warnings to the passenger car riders, the passenger car drivers, sorry, and we are studying use cases like left turn or approaching to a crossing, matching both connectivity and ADAS, like radars, in order to increase the safety of our vehicles. There is no regulation yet in the motorcycle fields concerning connectivity, but sooner or later there will be one, and hopefully we will be ready, because we are currently, and since 3 years now, studying on how to introduce connectivity with a common protocol in motorcycle also.
Good morning. So I went to visit your plant some month ago, and I noticed all the attention you make to details and your the high quality of your motorcycles. We can say that this is your main feature, which differentiates Ducati from the other companies, or there's something more?
If you visit our manufacturing site, you have seen that many of the assembly phases are done, more or less all the assembly is done manually. It's like craftsmanship. We take care of a single distance of each part in order to have the most beautiful fit and finish of our motorcycles. And I visited a lot of manufacturing also of our competitors, and I have to say that it's not like that. If you are concerned only on volumes, which means how many bikes per day can I manufacture, you cannot take care of those small details. So yeah, I have to say that this is our distinctive way of addressing quality, fit and finish. We have 3 steps of checks at the end of a line, collaudo 1, collaudo 2, collaudo 3, free checks, and we use those free checks in order to be 100% sure that each one of the 200 or 250 bikes per day that we manufacture in high season, I mean, are 100% conform to our specification in terms of quality. So I have to say that this is one of the distinctive feature of Ducati, to care a lot of every single detail of our motorcycles.
Thank you very much.
So thank you again for the attention. Thank you.